cut stone. They were about 4 feet long, 2.5 feet deep, so you'd be down below the frost line. You men ought to learn about the frost line if you're going to do any digging. But, and it'd be about 8 inches wide. So right down on the curb, right down at where the street would meet, the stone had been used to mark it, so it wouldn't disappear real quick. And that was the mark of a hobo, say a friend of a hobo. So Mom was a friend of a hobo, and of course they took advantage of the friendship in my book. It didn't bother her as long as she had something to eat and give out to somebody. I talked about my mother. There are many, many others in town that did the same thing. When we learned to say that Mrs. O'Connor was having trouble, the O'Connors were having trouble, somebody, whether it be my family or not, might make a pot of soup. I mean, not a pot, a big pot of soup, and take it up to, vegetable soup. And if you were fortunate, you had a bone in it, to give it a little meaty flavor, that was good. But all families, what I'm trying to say is all families looked after one another. You didn't ignore somebody that was hurting. You did your level best to help them. And if nothing else, you visited and offered prayers with them. Whether you were Catholic or Protestant or Jewish, or whatever, people were more responsive to prayer in those days than it seems like they are today. One of the other things is that during the young people, of course, had a lot of time on their hands. We had a big ball field that was used in line for playing. Baseball was played on it 3-4 nights a week by the industrial teams that were available during those days. And we would play ball up there during the daylight hours. The industrial teams always started about 5 o'clock in the evening to get the game in before dark. We would play with, we'd have a bat and a ball that had been taped up many times. But that's what we used to keep it warm. But the young, in our town, we had a very active YMCA, and during the Depression years, the Y started courses. They had a course in English, mathematics, and physics, and the young people could go to these courses. There were no textbooks. A lot of the stuff that we run off on in those days was hectograph or mimeograph. You didn't have the duplicating systems that you have today. And your book was literally a sheaf of papers like this that you used to study. And a lot of good came out of that. Young men that had never thought about studying mathematics or studying physics in life were better able to get a job when things loosened up because they had more knowledge of what makes things work. How does it work and the like. So that was a good thing. I don't know the numbers of people that went there, but in our little town it had to be in the hundreds because you had nothing else to do during the day, and you went up there and you got yourself almost an associate degree in those, because if you stayed with them for 3 years, you covered just about everything that had to be covered in the course. The different churches would sponsor, you might have some kind of athletics. I mean, I don't know if you ever played ping pong. We played an awful lot of ping pong, hit that white ball back and forth on the table. And we'd have tournaments in it. Of course, we had softball. We played softball. We had tournaments in softball. And the young people kept themselves pretty busy during those days. It was toward the tail end of the Depression when I got into high school. I went and in our town, we didn't have a high school. We had to walk about 1.5 miles down into the town of Turtle Creek. And I think we had about 80 or 90 young people from Wilmington going to high school down there. And of course, we would walk down and back. We couldn't afford streetcars at that time. So you made friendships there that lasted all your life because you were all going the same direction. You were talking about different things and so on. One of the things that we did when we got into high school, we did a lot of dancing, going around to different places. And one of the favorite places for dancing was down at the YWCA in Turtle Creek. So that was our relaxation. Now, I think it cost, I'm not sure, I think it cost 15 cents to go into a dance. And all that was the YWCA used that money to buy new records. That was the era of the big bands, the Tommy Dorsey and Glenn Millers and Howie Johnson and the Dorsey brothers and all those. I don't know if you guys know what I'm talking about, but they were the bands. And that's when young Frank Sinatra came along. The thing about it, we all liked about Sinatra was the fact that when he sang, you could understand what he was saying. It's not like some of the songs I listen to today. I say, what's he saying? What's he singing about? I have no idea. The other thing we like to say is that those people took lessons, and so they played music, and all we get out is a guitar strumming or something like that. Now there may be some rhythm, there's rhythm to it, but it's, I'm not being critical, it's just the way it sounds to me. And to people of my era, you know, that's all it caused. But we would go, relaxation was going to, and recreation was going to a dance. Now, in those days, a couple of guys and girls dated steady and all that, and most of us didn't do that. We'd go to a dance. When you go into a dance, you were given a little card like this, and on it there were 12 dances. When I say 12 dances, 12 sets, 3 records to a dance, or to a set rather. So I'd walk in and I'd see Kayla and say, Kayla, how about the first dance? And she'd say, well, no, I haven't tied up. I said, well, how about the second? She said, okay, second dance. So I'd put Kayla's name down on line number 2, and she'd put my name in her book. So we're all set. And the music hadn't started yet. We're still getting organized. And I might go over to Nastasia and say, hey, Nastasia, how about dance number 1? She'd say, sure, sure. And when I got dance number 1 with Nastasia, I got dance number 12, because I'm taking her home. And that's the way we did. Now, going home, we didn't go home by ourselves. I mean, there might be 8 or 10 of us walking home, and this two would stop here, and she'd go up the house and stop over here, across the street, and down the street, 3 blocks. Megan might be with us, say, for all the ways. She might be my neighbor, so I'd end up really walking home with her. But that's what you did. You lined up your dances here. And we danced. And one of the nice things, as I see it based on what I've learned today, but the dancing today, I'll tell you, honestly, it's almost pornographic. I'm right. I'm right. But seriously, we danced with jitterbug and a waltz, you know, and did the bunny hop and things like that.
The bunny hop.
It was great. Did the Lambeth walk. You never heard of other things. But they were, then we did line dancing. You've seen people line dancing. And it's a lot of fun.